So here we'll check out part C of number 1. This was from the 2014 A, B, and the BC exam. And this is the grass clipping problem, and in part C here it says find the time for which the amount of grass clippings in the bin is equal to the average amount of grass clippings in the bin over the time interval from 0 to 30. This is an easy question to mess up. If you've done a decent number of free response questions, you've probably seen quite a few where you need to find when the instantaneous rate of change equals an average rate of change. This doesn't say average rate of change. This says average amount of grass. Now A of t represents the amount of grass. If we want the average amount of grass at any time between 0 and 30, what we're going to have to use is we're going to have to use the formula for the average value of a function, which says multiply by 1 over the difference between the endpoints that you want the average across, do the integral from the beginning of that time frame to the end of that time frame of the function you want the average value of. So this right here will be the average value of A on the interval from 0 to 30. If you want to find the value of this, the calculator's in play. It's pretty simple to find the value of this on the calculator. If you have a TI-83 or a TI-84, what you can do is you can go into the math menu and you can use the Numerical Integrator feature, which will be right here, option 9 from out of the math menu. And to use this, what you need to do is you need to type in the integrand. So the integrand, what we want to do the integral of is this function. So if you carefully type that in, and I'm changing the variable t to the variable x just so I can use this variable key on the calculator to type this in. And I definitely turned a decimal point into a 2. I'm glad I caught that. And then after you get the function that you want to find the integral of in, you have to tell the calculator the variable of integration. Well, the variable I typed into the calculator was x. We want to do the integral from 0 to 30, so after another comma, I give the calculator the lower limit, another comma, upper limit. Finally, we're ready to close the initial grouping symbol and do the integral. So this is not the average number of pounds of grass clippings in the bin over the time interval from 0 to 30. We need to multiply by 1 over 30 or divide that by 30 in order to turn that into an average. So we divide that by 30, and what we end up with is we end up with 2.752635,108. Now the reason why I've taken all of the digits of accuracy that the calculator provided me with there and not just rounded it to the third digit, this is an intermediate calculation. We want to find the time t when the amount of grass in the bin equals this average. So since this is an intermediate calculation, I just wanted to make sure I didn't round anything off in the middle of the problem and lose some accuracy with my third digit beyond the decimal as a result of that. So now what I need to do is I need to figure out when A of t equals this average. So when does A of t equal this 2.75 and then all the other stuff? And you can find this very easily with the calculator if you think about what the calculator can do for you. You can graph A of t, so if you graphed A of t, I keep missing buttons on my calculator here. If you graph A of t, and you also graph y equals 2.75, I'm going to type in everything the calculator gave me here. Don't want to lose any accuracy because I got lazy in the middle and rounded off once there. If I graph these, I almost see the intersection here. You know, this time interval extends from 0 to 30, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extend my viewing window to an x max of 30. And now I clearly see that the value of A of t is equal to the average at this point right here. Calculator can find that intersection for you. Go into the calculate menu, grab the intersect feature. If you only have two curves graphed and they only intersect at one point, which is the situation here, you can just hit enter, 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 and you have your values. So that x value is going to be our t value. So I'm going to round this off to 12.41. I guess I'm going to round that to 12.415 days. So 12.41 days into the decomposition process, the amount of grass in the bin is equal to the average amount that was in the bin over the course of that 30-day stretch.